Hi, welcome to the Talk of Titusville, everyone. I'm Alicia Murphy. I'll be your host today. And today we have Robert Jordan, who is running for
Commission.
commission.
Just say that.
So, tell us about your
Sure.
family and what
Oh,
you
yeah,
do.
absolutely. I am Robert Jordan. I was recruited to work on the shuttle program in 1979. So I spent 32 years. Of course, started off as an engineer and then became project manager, engineering manager, payload manager, all those things out there. And after 32 years, shuttle was retired, and so they retired me. And we purchased a business called Genesis 7. We've had it for 13 years now, and basically we purchase for large companies, Lockheed, Boeing, Disney, Universal, and the like. I've been married for 44 years.
Congratulations.
July 44 years
Wow.
for us. We have two children. I have a who's 31 years old now. I actually delivered her. I can't believe it. 31. A functional manager for one of the larger contractors over in Clearwater.
Oh, nice.
My son, Robbie, he's 40. I cut his umbilical cord,
Oh, nice.
40, and he's my manager at my business. He does all the IT work, facility management, and of course, he's also our driver that takes things over to Disney and Universal.
Nice.
Um, I have a degree in civil engineering, a master's degree in aeronautical science from Embry-Riddle University. Have certainly a focus on working with the public, 35 years of service with the public, started with actually being a PTO at Riverview Elementary
Nice.
many, many years. And also, I've been the chairman of Brevard County Schools, either the chairman or vice chairman for 8 years. I've been the chairman of Career Source and Find Jobs after
Jobs.
the
Yeah.
right for sure. I've been the chairman of the Chamber of Commerce for Titusville. Of course, I'm the chairman and president of my own company. And one of my crowning jewels is I'm the chairman and president of the Art Charter School, in which we started with nothing, and we now have a 113,000 square feet. We have almost 1,600 children and 400 on the waiting list.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
That's a lot.
it's a lot.
It's a
It's a
lot.
lot.
That's
Yes,
a lot on your plate.
yes, yes, yes. But I enjoy it. I totally
Business,
enjoy it. Yeah.
school, everything.
Everything. Oh, I forgot. And I'm also the chairman of Parish Medical Center.
And you used to be on the city of
Oh, I'm sorry.
Titusville.
I
Yeah,
used to be vice mayor
yeah,
of the city of. Thank you so much. I forgot. You're right. It's a lot. It's a
It
lot for
is a
sure.
lot to
Yeah.
keep up with, right?
Yes. Yes, for sure.
So, do you have any activities you like to do do you have any
Believe it or
time
not,
for anything?
well, I do. One of the things about 8 months ago, for some reason, I decided to cook for every dinner meal that we have now. So I, as an engineer, correct in my kitchen
And organized.
and organized. So I changed out the cabinet be a certain way. It's really sick, but
Little things,
little things, yeah.
right?
But my wife agreed if I would cook, that she would clean up my mess afterwards. So really, it works out very
That's a
well.
good,
Oh yeah,
that's
yeah.
good because I cook and I still have to clean up.
Oh, is that?
So
I
I
don't
got
think that's
myself a
fair.
new stove.
Really. But it has worked out really well, and I believe in starting to follow the recipe, but then I add my ingredients and everything. And my wife likes to eat, so everything that I've cooked so far, she's loved.
So far so good.
So far, so good. Yeah,
Yeah.
really good for sure.
Spicy food or
All kinds, I believe it or not. And so we do a lot of salmon food for sure. And one of the things I didn't think I would like was breast of chicken because my body has been
dry.
very dry.
Yeah.
But I found out how
How
to
to
make it
cook it.
moist. Oh
Yep.
my gosh, it was really
And
good. So,
my oven that I bought is an
yeah.
air fryer oven.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's convection. It's like three different types
Right. Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
It gives me a lot of options and less things on the counter.
Absolutely. So,
So
so that's what I do
yeah,
majorly. I am a woodworker. Also, I have a workshop behind my house, but for some reason, this cooking has really taken over.
taken off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a lot
it's
cleaner
fun.
too than
Yeah,
wood.
you have someone else cleaning up
if
too,
for
once you cook.
yes, yes,
Yep.
absolutely. It works out well. She does it with a smile, so I'm appreciative of it.
That's great.
Yes.
So, all right, well, let's get into the questions.
Sure, we
Okay.
can do that. Yeah.
So North Brevard has seen significant growth and changes in recent years. What specific plans do you have to further stimulate economic development in our city? And how will you ensure this growth benefits all residents, including small business owners and low-income families?
Okay, I appreciate the question. Of course, I'm a member of the North Ward Economic Development Zone, so we're always looking to bring new businesses into North Brevard. One of the challenges we've always had was the fact that it just seems like we never got our fair share in North Brevard. We were this group
The
that was
leftover.
the leftover,
Yeah,
and I always hated that for sure. The reason why we have the theater at Titusville High,
hmm,
and of course the football field at Titusville and Astronaut was because of my tenure. We actually brought that in, and remember, everyone was working or playing football at Dre Field.
Oh, see, I did not know that.
Oh,
I'm
you
not
didn't know that?
originally
Yeah,
from
yeah,
here. I'm
yeah.
only here 8 years, so
Oh,
I'm
okay.
kind
I'm
of,
sorry. Where Dre Field was actually where Astronaut and Titusville played their games.
oh,
And but when you look at everyone else in the district, they all had their own football field
right.
except us. And for some reason, they didn't think that we had culture, so we didn't have a theater either.
Oh, well,
So I had to push to get it done, but we were able to get those facilities done. The other thing about small business, I'm a small business
yeah,
owner, and the challenge we always have is education. I've seen some small businesses who say that they want to work as a small business, but they actually are using it more of a what's the word I want to use? It's a hobby
okay,
instead of doing business. The purpose of business is to make money.
right,
You cannot make money if you're closed.
right,
And so there's a lot of education that needs to happen for our small businesses. There also needs to be incubators that the small businesses can come in, especially the startups. They need to have a place where they can use computers, where they have printers, where there are people, experts who can guide them into being successful. We
right,
got to do it. Small business in America is what is the engine for everyone.
right,
So we really have to do that. The workforce development is the same thing. When we were kicked to the curb in 2011,
yeah,
most of us was around 55 years old, including myself,
right,
right? And so at that time, when we were bringing companies in, we were bragging about a prepared workforce. Well, 13 years later, those people like myself are 67 or 68, right?
I
So
retired now,
or
yeah,
retire.
yeah,
I have no
no,
idea what retirement means because my wife said I'll never retire. But we have to make sure our kids are ready. So education is really important. Back in the day, if a child graduated from high school, one was expecting them to go to college.
college,
But
yeah,
that is not the case today. It is no problem if a child decides that they don't want to go to college, but they want to learn a skill like
right,
plumbing, electrical, and what have you, construction. Those skills that I just talked about, my
mm,
dad taught me all of those.
right,
So when I was actually redoing my house for the fifth or sixth time, I didn't have to pay anybody because I knew the skills. But I was really surprised at even older folks who don't know how things work. And so they hire people, and plumbers are very expensive. The electricians are very expensive.
handyman,
Yeah,
people
handyman,
can't do,
it can, yeah, that's
yeah,
the simplest thing. I
yeah,
always brag that most of my friends are not mechanically inclined, so they love me
yep.
because they can call me up and say, hey, can you
Hey,
fix this or
or can you
whatever.
tell me how to do it?
Well,
No,
most of the time they want me to just do it for sure.
yeah,
So, which is fine. But the last thing is community engagement. We've got to go together to show what we're doing and ask their vision of the community to go. If we don't here for a long period of time, till 67, I know how hard it was for us to maintain our standard of living.
yeah,
After we retire, we need to do is have to fight for the standard of living that we've worked so hard for.
right,
So we need to listen to them, understand where they're coming from. I believe everybody understands that we have to have growth, but they have to also understand that we cannot afford, especially those on on Social Security. They can't afford having higher taxes and higher fees on things. You hear a lot of politicians say, "I'll never raise your taxes," but what they do is they raise your fees. It's the same
It's
thing.
same
It's coming
thing.
right out of your
Yeah,
pocket,
out of your
and
pocket.
we have to make sure that we do everything we possibly can to maintain a standard of living and a quality of life for our existing people because they are important to really the well-being and the character. I always tell people the difference between North Brevard and Central Brevard, where they is that we are a community. Most of us know each other. Some of us
Yep.
maybe do. Yes,
Yeah,
a small
small
town.
town feeling.
Where I
Yeah.
came from in St. Mary's, there was only 5,000 people. We knew everyone, the same school and everything. But here in Titusville, it is a small town feel. We don't want to lose that, but we also have to understand if we don't want our taxes to go up, if we don't want our fees to go up, there needs to be to help us pay those bills because they are continually going
Right.
up for sure.
So,
Is that
okay.
all right?
Yep. You think
Okay.
you hit everything on that one?
I think I did. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Affordable housing
Yeah.
is certainly important. My problem with affordable housing is I don't know what that means because in 19, when I built my house, it was almost a 3,000 square foot house and I paid $40,000 for it. I didn't even get close to that about your children and your grandchildren. How are they going to be able to afford a house when initially basically they start off at $300,000 to $400,000.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money, even for an established person like me. I don't want to pay those monthly payments for that. And by the way, I've noticed that the quality of the house is not as good as what we had in
Right.
1991,
Yeah.
right? So you gotta understand what affordable housing is, and yes, we need to take care of those working poor,
Mm-hmm.
but we also need to take working and they still cannot afford a house. I think it should always be up front. We need to have our new families be able to have a vision of what they want to see and do in the future. We've got affordable, people have kind of changed and say workforce housing, even with workforce housing. Sure. So we have to collaborate together. Business and government need to work together. The people who actually have the money is the business side.
Yes.
Okay. The government is always working on a shoestring. Collaborate with business. We'll be able to develop some housing. Our kids and those who are almost disenfranchised will be able to afford something of their own. So I think I covered.
Yeah. With the increased population and economic improved infrastructure and public service, utilities, public safety, and what are your priorities for future investments in these areas?
One of the things when I got that question, I looked up where we were in 1990 versus today, which was 34 years ago. In 1990, believe it or not, in Titusville proper, we only had 39,000 people.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Today, 34 years later, we have 49,000 people. So that's only a difference of 10,000 people. Some people say we're going through a boom. What we're going through is, yes, there are developers who's coming who say that they want to build,
Mm-hmm.
but if you look at Tranquility Bay, who is building 2,400 homes, there's really only maybe 5 or 6 of those homes that are being built right now.
Okay.
When you look at the other subdivision, I can't remember what it's called, on 405, KB Homes.
KB Homes.
KB
Yes.
Homes have said they're going to build 1,200 homes.
Mm-hmm.
To this date, and they've been in business 3 years, they've only built 200 of those homes.
Right.
So on the books, it looks like we're going to be building 5,200 homes. But I think what we have to realize is the tax base is not going to increase very quickly, even though inflation is causing a lot of us to pay a lot more money for infrastructure maintenance and enhancement. We're really not keeping up with what's going on for sure.
Right.
So we need to certainly focus on helping new business come in, plus develop to build homes that so that we can utilize some of those property taxes to help us with the,
Right.
for sure. So I just wanted to put that look at Brevard County. Brevard County had 387,000 people in 1990.
Okay.
Today, we have 657,000
Oh,
people.
wow.
So that was an increase of 387,000 people. So if you even
But we
just,
only went up
we did
10,000 here. Where
exactly.
did they all, Middle
They're all
Brevard?
going to Vieira
Vieira.
and Middle Brevard. And
Yeah,
so that's what I need people to understand. Yes, we do have some growth, thank God,
yeah.
but the growth is not taking care of all the needs and wants that we want. Most people say, well, we don't want people to come here. But honestly, if we don't get more people into this city, into the District 1,
Hmm.
then those who are here who say they want to just keep it as it is are going to be paying high taxes because we can't afford it any other
And
way.
that's why we're not getting more help because
Exactly.
we're not growing as
As
fast as
fast as
the
the
other
other,
counties. Is that
exactly.
what I'm understanding?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, when you go to Vieira, I mean, they're just building homes and homes and homes.
$1 million homes.
$1 million. I don't know
No,
how these people are.
I don't know, but
Well,
they
I,
did too.
but I always tell people the difference between Vieira and Titusville is that, in my opinion, these people are home poor. They can afford their home, but they can't afford to do anything else,
Right.
right,
Yeah.
in their community, wherein we don't have that problem. Relationships is very important in my mind, and we just have those relationships for sure. What was the other question you asked me? 'Cause I think
Um, Public safety, public safety.
yeah,
Yeah,
public safety usually takes on for the county 40 or 50% of the budget that we have, and it's increasingly going up. And the challenge that we have, as you can see, the firefighters are trying to get more money.
correct.
They're saying they're only getting $15 an hour. Then you got the sheriff who's asked for more money because both the firefighters and the sheriff department is suffering from people being trained in our county and going other
Other
places.
places.
So we're basically a training ground, an education ground in which these people are leaving, going to a higher paying jobs, and we're stuck not having sufficient.
That's son's job,
Yeah,
actually. People are getting trained there and they're going to
and-
larger
right.
places that are
Yeah,
paying a lot more money. And it's hurting,
it's
yeah, it's
hurting.
hurting his
Right,
industry. Yeah,
right.
like, yeah,
Yeah,
because
and
they lose them and train them.
yeah, it actually is happening. I kind of smiled when I saw when we first started SpaceX and bringing in the challenge that we had was that SpaceX would go over to another, then these people would be asked to go someplace else and they keep getting higher salaries. So that's why we have to really focus on getting a workforce, starting with our kids who's graduating from school, actually before they graduate from school, ensuring that we have CTE and other programs to teach them plumbing skills. One of the big things is uh, um,
Reading and writing.
not
No.
reading and writing. No, I'm thinking about
I'm sorry.
not soldering. What's the other one? I can't think of it right now.
Hiring?
No,
No.
no, no, no. I can't think of it right now.
Okay.
But anyway,
Sorry.
we certainly need more of them right now. I'll think of it 2 o'clock.
Yeah. Where the kids are getting training.
Mm.
Doesn't this school district offer something where they're training the kids or something to be able to go on?
Yeah, yeah,
I,
yeah. We do have some CTE classes. We don't have enough of them. And honestly, I think change how we're teaching our children. A lot of stuff that we're teaching our kids, they are, of course, are saying, well, I'll never use that. Yeah, you know, reading, writing, arithmetic, you got to do that for sure. But
right.
we got to teach them a skill. When I was growing up and when you were growing up, I'm sure, we used to teach cursive writing. We used to
Yes.
teach typing and all that stuff.
Yes.
Now everybody just use two thumbs.
Home ec.
Oh, home ec, exactly.
We
You
could,
know,
yeah.
yeah, we
Wood
had home
shop.
ec. Yes, I had wood shop
So
when
did
I was
I.
growing up, and I remember the first day they had me to cut a piece of plywood, and I didn't understand that I need to hold that thing on the table, and I let it go,
It
and it
kicks
came
you.
kick back in my stomach, and I said, "Oh," thought I was going to die
Hi.
actually,
Yep.
but it all worked. But these are the types of things that we really need to teach our kids so we can be better. Public transportation is very important, but I've ridden public transportation, and not a lot of people ride it. And I think it's because the American way is have your own car. right?
True, but I know a lot of people that do take transportation because they don't have. And Titusville, to get here,
Hmm.
to get to the bus, it's a good walk in any direction to get to a bus stop.
Yeah,
And me being from growing up north, they were always right at your doorstep. Like you
yeah,
could
we don't
walk
have,
right
yeah,
out.
yeah.
Here, it's very, I think it's expanded more here in Titusville.
Well, it has,
It,
yeah,
and it would just be nice to see it a little bit more. I don't
yeah.
know if it
It
is there
can be.
enough riders? I
Well,
don't know.
that's one of
Yeah,
the challenges because you don't charge a lot of money for them to ride for
right.
sure. And just like with everything else, it's hard to find drivers too.
Yeah,
And that's a big problem. I certainly would like to have us to use multimodal transportation, especially around Titusville and everything. I'm thinking about a tram. Where
right.
you can just go around town instead of, and maybe an electric tram, something that is green that allow people to just jump on and off without even having to worry about a ticket, but it's just something that we can do.
Down in, is there one in Cocoa Beach? They have a little electric, like extra large, like golf cart. It's big,
Oh, really?
and you can get on
Get
it
on it?
and
No.
ride it to
That would
different
be good.
places.
But the challenge we have
Yeah,
is anything that we do, it needs to have air conditioning because it's
it,
too hot
it's
outside.
too hot. It
Right.
is true.
Yeah.
We're not close enough beachside to have that breeze all
E-
the time. So,
Exactly. Exactly.
um,
Where are we?
and what about priorities for future investments? Did we hit on that
No,
one?
I don't think we did, but that's one of the things. The challenge we have is most people said the government have enough money to do everything that they want to do.
Right.
The challenge that we have with saying, okay, we're going to save a certain amount of money for in a future investment, like making sure our infrastructure that, on in the industrial area right now, they're relining the sewer pipes
Okay.
for sure, which needs to happen because what we have found out is in Titusville proper, we really have enough water, we have enough sewer. The problem is the lines really need to be cleaned out and maintained. And we never have enough money to do those things. We're doing it slowly, but we really need to invest in our infrastructure right now because even though we may have all the lines,
Yeah.
oh, that infrastructure is growing very old, and either we're going to have to replace it or we need to put liners inside there. Water, we have enough of. People complain about the water, saying it's not clean and all that. The water is clean. When you talk about Clean Water Act and all that stuff that's going
Yeah.
on right now, honestly, the people were talking about the Indian River, but when you hear clean water, you say, yeah, I want clean drinking water. I want clean drinking water for sure. But when you think about the EPA and all the government entities that actually make sure we test our water and make sure it's clean and everything, some people just don't like water. That's why the industry of these bottled water has gone so much because
Everyone likes a certain brand
yeah,
and
and all this good
everything.
stuff.
Yeah.
But in actuality, the water is fine. It is drinkable water,
Right.
but we do have to make sure on a daily basis that the water is safe for everybody to drink. So infrastructure investment continually because as we're using these facilities, they're wearing replace them
Right.
and it costs a lot of money, millions of dollars. So the challenge you have is that if you say that you want to replace some water treatment plants and it costs $10 million today, if you wait to try to save up the money to do that, it'll be 30 to 40 times higher,
Higher.
right? So what
Yes.
you've saved, it really hasn't worked. So that's why bonding comes in a lot where people say, well, you don't need to be borrowing money, and everything. I'm sorry. If you're talking about bonding at 3%, versus having an investment that is going to cost you 40% more, I'm going to take the bonding every time.
Right.
I do not want our residents to pay any more money than they have to. I just started getting my Social Security.
Oh.
I'm so happy. I waited till my full retirement age, was
Right.
66 years and 6 months. But then I looked at what I was getting and I said, if I had to just live off of this like a lot of people have,
I do.
right?
Yeah.
You
I'm
do
on
not want to
disability
see
though, so
any increase from your government in anything.
nowhere because we only get the cost of living increase.
Right, right.
Your COLA increase, which is usually $30
Yeah,
for the
it
year?
doesn't keep up with inflation,
No, it
right?
doesn't.
And
Not
that's
at all.
that really saddens me because I really want, especially those of our age now,
Yeah,
to be able to really enjoy their life
right.
after they finish working. And the only way to do that is to hire me to be your county commissioner so that
To
I will
keep it down.
protect, yeah, keep
Yeah.
it down for sure. So,
Okay.
uh,
So you hit all your
I think I
points?
hit all the points.
Okay.
Yeah.
So question number three, engaging with the community
Yeah.
and maintaining transparency in decision making are crucial for public trust. What measures will you implement to ensure that the residents of North Brevard are actively involved in the political process and have access to clear, timely information about local government actions and
Man,
policies?
that is a long
That's a
question.
long one, but a lot of our people, that's
Yeah.
what we hear about, not
Oh, I do
having
too. Yeah,
like
access.
access.
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah,
a firm believer. I think you can tell I'm a really likable person.
it's
I love people, totally, totally love people. And the one thing I've said that once I get elected, the first thing I'm going to do is reach out to all my constituents by email, by text, and say, I'm here.
right,
My doors are open. If you have any challenges that you want to talk to me about, because I get it, as we're walking neighborhoods and everything, I keep hearing the same thing over and over again. The number one thing is nobody wants to talk to me. I need someone where I can reach out to and let them know with my child. I'm not even looking for them to agree totally with me, but
right,
respect me enough to just talk to me, right, and answer my phone.
right.
And I promise you, I will do that. I have always believed that when God has given me a position where I can serve people, then I need to do that.
Okay,
My reward will be in heaven, not
here,
here.
right,
So I will do everything I possibly can to make sure I communicate with people. And first, I would be established a regular community forum. So I would say once a quarter, once a month, or whatever, we will meet in a certain place to hear what everybody has to say, what we can reach consensus on, and what we can do.
okay,
The second thing is utilizing, of course, the social media platform to keep people aware of questions, and there will be a place. The good part about being a county commission, you actually have staff. When
right,
I was on school board, I only had one person, a secretary, and
right.
because
You
she had
couldn't
to
do
take
it
care of
all. Yeah,
all the board
yeah,
members. So I'll have a staff to do that. Certainly, I'm going to be very transparent with my decision making. Someone calls me and say, I need you to vote a certain way on this thing. I will tell them I'm a firm believer that the other county commissioners, I will tell them how I'm leaning, but know that I have to listen and hear what the other county commissioners say first before I make the final decision. Some of the decisions are going to be pretty easy.
right,
If it's in my district, then I will tell you this is how I'm going to vote on
right.
a thing. I got to get two others. You got to
You
learn
gotta
how to
get,
do three,
yeah,
right?
three.
I'm one, so I need two more
You got
people
two
for sure.
more to
Yeah.
lean towards you, right?
Right, for sure. And I think one of the things that people really need to understand is how government works. So I will be starting an education program where people will be able to come in to understand how the process works, especially when it comes down to permitting, come down to other things that they want, how to get in touch with the right people in order for them to get things done for them. The good part about being a county commissioner, District 1 county commissioner, or any county commissioner is most of the commissioners understand that we're responsible for our district. Therefore, if we are making a decision about this district, they need to go along with it because when it comes down to the decision in their district, they
District,
want me to go
you're
along with it
right,
too.
to help them with something,
So that,
right?
there always has to be compromise, especially when we're talking about utilizing money that goes throughout the county. But the bottom line to me is I will be totally focused on helping the people of District 1. And by the way, this is not just Titusville, but we got Port St. John and we have MIMS.
Right.
I've talked to people in MIMS and they say, it seems like we've been forgotten. And I say, I promise you, I will not
Yeah.
forget you. I want to help them. I didn't realize they don't have a grocery store in MIMS. I did not
No, they
realize.
have to come to,
They have to come here.
yeah, they have to come to the Walmart here.
Yeah,
Mind you, Port St. John has to come to the
they have to
Walmart.
come here. Yeah.
And where I lived in Georgia, we had a north and a south Walmart, and it was about the same size.
Yeah, it's
I'm actually shocked there isn't, the next closest one is the one in Cocoa in that curve.
yeah, and that little
Yeah,
yeah, clearly. Yeah.
Clear Lake, yeah.
Clearly, yeah. Yeah,
So,
it's unfortunate because I never realized until I started talking to people in MIM and they said, we don't have a grocery store. And it never dawned on me that they didn't have a
get a
grocery store.
Kroger's here. Have
You
you
like
done?
Kroger's?
Oh my, I'm from Georgia, so
Oh,
like
okay.
You know,
Kroger
if we
save
could
on
have
foods.
ShopRite like I had up north, that,
Yeah.
you had your cans. No, but Kroger's is very, very, very
I'm surprised.
affordable.
I'm surprised you didn't say Piggly Wiggly. I knew about
No,
Piggly.
That's more South Georgia,
Oh,
like
is
where
it?
my other family was from. Yeah, it's
Okay.
Piggly Wiggly.
Okay.
But Kroger was up where in the Atlanta area. I
Okay.
use Kroger delivery here.
I'm impressed with Kroger delivery. It's amazing
Their
how fast they get.
prices.
Oh, is it price is good?
Oh my
I've never even
Lord,
tried it.
you have to
Really?
try it.
Oh,
Oh Lord,
okay. I will do that for
you
sure.
have to do it. Like,
Okay.
and you can pick like they deliver up till 10 p.m. at night.
Really?
Yes. It was a very, I am so happy they came into this area and you see the truck all
All the
the
time.
time.
I know. I said, and
See,
so I'm saying, where are they located?
in, I think it's Orlando is where they
Really?
are.
And they
And
come to,
I'm not really sure where it is, but it's a huge warehouse
yeah.
and they pack your groceries and they deliver them. There's no actual store though.
See, you bring a good point. It is the table issues that people really care about.
Right.
Talk to me. I need a place to get my food. I need someone who I can talk to about a challenge I have. Like someone been talking to me about 46 and how fast people go on 46. It needs to be 4 lane. I've been part of the TPO. I understand how that process works.
Really? Oh yeah, two
Yeah,
lanes in
two
each
lane.
direction.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
a lot of
It's
accidents
a
on the
lot of
highway.
accidents, and
Yeah.
that is not good for the people who live there. There's some great people in the Mims area. I actually built my first house in Port St. John though
Oh,
in
okay.
1983, and that thing cost me. It was a 1,200 square foot house, and it cost me $47,000.
I hate to tell you, but I got my condo for a little bit more than that.
Really?
Yeah. So
Wow.
I really stepped in it, but and it's what, quadrupled?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing
Yeah.
the
So it
price.
was a good
Yeah,
investment.
for
So
sure.
yeah.
I think I answered
Yeah.
everything that you asked.
So Marla, Proofs,
Purvis?
Purvis,
Uh-oh, it
Purvis,
left.
yeah. I wish you to speak more about helping
Oh,
adults 21 to
60.
60 years of age. And then someone says, do you support Trump?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. 21 to 6 is really the
It-
working age of people, right?
Right.
So, absolutely. The one thing I've told people, and I don't know if I failed to mention it, but I will have panels in my commission where if you care about workforce housing, if you care about young people and
Mhm.
entertainment or whatever, if you talk about elder care, but I'm going to add one because I was talking to uh, 4 widowers at what is it, the 4th of July
Oh,
thing. I
yeah.
can't remember what it's called.
Yeah.
Um, Number one thing they said, and I don't want to cry, I'm lonely.
Oh,
I'm lonely because their husband just died, because you all kill us
yeah.
before
Yeah.
you all
It
so
does.
and they are lonely, and a lot of times on their husband's social security, and now it's gone,
Yeah.
right? And so they have to live off theirs. And really the relational aspect, they've been married for years and
Hmm.
now they're gone and they don't know what to do with their life,
Yeah.
so that's one of the things I definitely want to start there for sure. But the young people, we got to make sure we keep our young people here. I would tell people, if you go to a church and you don't have any young people there, that church is dying. And
Yeah.
that's the same way with the community. You got to make sure we can keep our young people here, get them good job, good paying jobs. Because with young people, when they first start off, of course, they have the kids, they buy a car, they want to buy a house, but they buy a lot of toys,
Yep.
right? Sea-Doos and boats,
Electronics.
electronics and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And we need to be able to have a panel that can sit down with them and say, okay, what do you want? How can we handle helping you to get where you want to do? I always tell people, my wife and I have been married for 44 years. We have a great a life, but we work really hard.
Hard. Yeah.
Most of the time, I would tell you, we get up at 4:30 in the morning.
Hmm.
Okay, I have my own business. We don't leave work until very late in the evening. When
Right.
all our employees come in after us and they leave before us, we don't punch out. We know we just have to keep this business going because we got to pay for them and pay for insurance. My insurance for my business right now
Hmm.
is $52,000 a year. That's very expensive. Businesses have to pay a lot of money to the state, and which means you got to make a lot more money to, do all these
To
things
do all
for
the,
sure. And of
at
course,
least have a profit so you
oh, you
can't,
got to have a
yeah, you
profit.
have
Yeah.
to have a profit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of those. So those who are 21 to 60, I would tell you that I am looking forward to just having panels where we can sit down and talk about the challenges that they have and how we can help them prosper and have a great quality of life.
Okay. And then I have
Okay.
someone that Patricia Cooper.
Mhm.
What are you planning for homeless families, people that work and still cannot afford to live in an apartment or house?
Yeah, one of the things that my daughter, even though she was an engineer when she first started, when she told me what she had to pay
Mhm.
an apartment, and it was like $1,900 a
Yep.
month. It
Yep.
was crazy for sure. I believe that we've got to get grants. We have to really, and in my commission, I'm going to have one person who is going to be focused on getting grants, focused on trying to find whatever the federal government have out there that can help people. I was just told by a lady who wanted to support my campaign. She just moved to the apartment on 5 and Garden Street.
Hmm.
Um, One of the challenges that we have is there's a requirement for a certain amount of square footage in a apartment.
Right.
Though I think that needs to change because if you can lower the size of the apartment, make it clean and all, you
Right.
will be able to have a more affordable
Place to live.
places to live.
Yeah.
So even though the government said, well, you got to have a certain 1,000 square feet, 900 square feet, or you can't have these type of apartments, I think that's the wrong thing. We have to change our paradigm because what happened in the old days, it just can't happen now. I say
Right.
old days, my,
Well, yeah. You're,
so
yeah.
so yeah, so
That
that to me is
was,
going to be a big focus for me to try to make sure how, because I believe everybody needs to
yeah.
have affordable housing.
I remember when I was young, right, and I had apartments and I had two kids. It was still
Wow,
I could work and I still could pay
pay
for
for it. Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
I don't know what I would do if I was
Today,
it
yeah,
today. Yeah,
yeah.
I see my daughter and she makes $35 an hour and
It,
yeah, it's still struggling. So
it's crazy for sure.
um see, we got any more questions? Oh, she said that I would like to sit on your homeless panel.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
there's another lady who came by my office, and she was very focused on the homeless, and I said we definitely need to do that. We can't forget this. Now, I understand there are some who are homeless that don't want.
Want,
I
yeah,
understand that, but
yes.
there's a lot more who really they just can't afford it. And the challenge that we have is we got to understand the whole background of each one of the homeless people,
Yeah.
because sometimes they
Some
have some
people
mental
want to
issue.
be there, but
Right,
then we have the families with the
right,
kids that are
yeah.
living in their cars because they even can't get the money. There's no funding through, well, I always have Brevard211.org
Mm-hmm.
is where I
Know that.
always,
Yeah.
but they all run out of funding because there's so
So
much.
it's a need that
Yeah,
is overwhelming. And by the way, we cannot forget those kids who are living by themselves and they're living in their cars and they're
yeah,
going to school
yep.
every day. And luckily, the principal has identified those kids and try to help them as much. But we got to do something about that. I was blessed to be the ambassador of the year for the Children's Advocacy Council in Cocoa Beach. And
Mhm.
the challenge we also have is when people don't have enough money, they tend to fight. The parents tend to fight
Yeah,
a lot, and it causes harm to the kids. All the kids see is mom and dad is fighting all the time, and it's all of ways about money. And when they go to school, they are of course hungry. Luckily, the school system,
just, yeah,
they're feeding them, 2 meals.
yeah.
But the challenge you have is in the summer, there is
I think, to, I think there was a post. Am I correct, Michael? There was a post about that, about the food at the school, which schools are gonna have breakfast and lunch. And then there's also a link I think you provided that if you to apply, just in case you're entitled to more
well, you should
stuff.
apply. Yeah,
Yeah,
you definitely should apply
yeah.
because there is some help out there, and you have to be proactive too. Somebody just can't grab you and say, "Hey, you need to
You
apply for
need to
this."
do this.
You need to do some of the
There's
stuff yourself.
sometimes there's resources out there that people don't realize that are
Right,
out there.
exactly.
The food banks. We
Food banks are
have
really
a
good. Yeah.
lot of
Yes,
food
we do. My
banks.
church has a food bank
Oh,
every Thursday, so
yeah,
we need to make sure people understand that for sure.
yeah, and reach reach out and use those resources out
Absolutely.
there.
And you
Not,
shouldn't be embarrassed. Everybody needs help because we're only one check away from being homeless ourselves, right?
yes,
So we really need to try to help our
I just
people.
had a radiator blow on my car,
Oh,
and that was more than my monthly
yeah.
check.
Well, I can beat that.
So,
I can beat that. I came home Friday.
did I finish?
Huh?
Did
Oh,
I
there's
finish?
more?
I blew a thermostat in my house.
What?
That took every dime out of our checking account.
Uh,
And then my computer just,
went out to, oh, so
I got,
I can't beat all that.
the last name is Murphy. I live
Murphy's
Murphy's
Law.
Law. So, and it comes
I'm
to
sorry.
threes today.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
but
well,
what about you?
well, I was just gonna say that I
It
came into my house and I heard this sound like something was leaking. And I went into my master bathroom and the whole bathroom was
was flooded.
flooded. Yeah.
Oh,
And that was not a good sound. It
no.
turned out it was a simple problem, but it had flooded and I don't know how long it was doing it, but the
The,
nut underneath the tank had split horizontally and all the water just luckily there's tile in the bathroom and it actually spewed over into the shower
shower.
area.
Oh,
So
well,
most
that's,
of it was okay. So I
just
was
imagine the damage to the underfloor
I
and every,
know.
the
Yeah.
subfloor and everything
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
Ugh,
Yeah. It happens to all of us.
yeah.
That's why we need
So,
to take care of each other. For sure.
let's
What
see.
else you got in there?
I don't know. What's your, oh, hang on. I have, let me go. What are your thoughts on the strategic plan for the county?
The challenge that we have is, and I've been looking at this, we really need to get the people involved in what they want the county to look like. I don't think they've done that in a long time. Sometimes government just continue a path that they've had for a very long time, and it doesn't energize the people. So I certainly want to say, hey, I'm new to the
Right.
county. I've got some ideas of what I think where we should go, but I think we need to bring in the citizens who I'm sure are a lot smarter than us. I've always
We're
said,
gonna be so flooded with so much.
well, it doesn't matter because in
Yeah,
my mind, this is my calling
right,
and I really want people to be heard. I think the challenge that some politicians have is they don't like to hear certain things. I have always felt that even if am not in agreement with someone, I'm still listening to
listening,
try to find some nugget that I can help, because even though some people may come up to the council or to the commission and they have a good idea. The challenge I have, and I'll be honest with you, don't yell at me.
right.
I just want you to tell me because I really want you to be successful and I really want to get to yes with you.
Yeah,
I don't want to say no to you, but if you're yelling at me as a human being, you kind of cut people off. I hear you, but I'm not listening to
listen,
you, and I really want to listen to you,
right.
right? So,
Yeah,
so my big thing is, yeah, strategically, we need to. I think we need to have a renaissance for Brevard County because we have everything. We got the beaches, we got the space program, we got technology, we got all these things. We got nature, but we need to have a come to Jesus meeting and say, where do we want our county to be in the next 5 years, the next 10 years? Because things change. What we thought about 5 years ago and 10 years ago have changed. We need to sit down and have a decent conversation with those who care about this county and see where we want to go and then work towards that.
right. So, and then we have, what's your view on supporting the space program?
Come on,
Well,
32 years of the shuttle
a shuttle
program. And
program,
some
so,
some people are saying, none of this stuff has happened. Unfortunately, I was a project manager when Challenger blew up. I was actually in the fire room at the time. And I'm going to tell you, there had never been such a dedicated group of people who wanted to find out what the problem
problem
was
was,
and
yeah,
get us back launching. I love the idea that we have commercial going on. I always call them crayons, the rockets we
yeah,
have now.
right,
But guess what? When it comes down to the shuttle versus come down to the commercial rockets are a lot safer because they
right.
have an escape mechanism. The shuttle could never be designed with
No,
this escape
yeah, because it
mechanism
was
because
all
yeah, it was
enclosed.
always enclosed.
Yep,
It's a plane, so
yep,
I'm
a
a hundred
glider,
percent. Yes, it was a
a
glider. Yeah.
glider.
So I'm 100% behind the space program, but we need to make sure, specifically in District 1, that we diversify and make sure we have things just in case we have another uh, challenge and the space program goes away.
Right,
We've got to do other things besides that for sure.
right. And I guess, and then Barbara Brown says, "Good luck, Robert."
Oh, who's Barbara Brown? Thank you, Barbara Brown, for sure. So all I
So
can, are we out of time yet or what? Because you know I can talk.
yeah, we got a few more minutes,
We
but
got
go ahead. Come on.
oh, okay. You know, I think if this is in closing, I just want people to know who I am. My wife has endorsed me, which is very important to me because she knows me and she knows the conversation I'm having with you is the same conversation I have with her. This is not about trying to put some kind of face on Robert Jordan and he's totally different. This is who I am. I'm extremely approachable. I'm the only son of Robert and Liz Jordan, and my parents have always told me you should always give back. No matter what God has given you, you should always give back the community, and that's what I've been doing for the last 35 years. When I was on the Brevard County School Board, before I got on the dais, I always prayed, God, use me, make sure that whatever I say is never for Robert Jordan, is for the kids that
Right,
I'm serving because we have 74,000 kids in that school system and you only get one chance to educate these kids and I
right,
want to do a great job. The other thing is when parents decide like in my charter school where they have to decide whether they want their kids to come to the school, we understand that we are in the business of education. So we need to please our parents as it relates to that. And that's why we're always inviting them in to the school.
right.
One of the things I tell people all the time, the thing that I really love about our school is that we have parents who really come
Are
to our school. Yeah, they're very hard.
involved.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
very involved in that school. And I say the negative thing about it, these parents are really involved.
I was at my son's school. He hated it. I was there
Yeah,
every
every
day,
day.
but
But
I did copying. I made
hmm
copies.
yeah, we
I
love
took the
volunteers. Yeah.
teachers would put all their stuff in their little mailboxes outside, and I would
Uh,
go around and I so they could spend the time with those children that they
yeah.
weren't spending it in a copying room and stuff,
Yeah.
you know?
It's
So,
it's very important that I think our constituents know that this candidate, Robert Jordan, is all about the people. I don't need this job. We
right.
can get in our RV right now and just go and do
You
our
have your
thing.
own
Yeah, and I
business.
have my own business.
Yeah,
But my heart has always been serving people. And that's where I'm happiest, where I'm serving people. Now, I have to tell you, I'm very proud that I've been endorsed by almost everybody.
I saw it was a big list.
It's a huge list, but
Yes.
of course, Cheryl Wayne Ivey, he was one the first to endorse me. State Representative Tyler Soroy,
Yeah.
he endorsed me. Senator Tom Wright, many of the mayors of all the city municipalities have endorsed me. That was one of the most important things to me because relationships are important.
Right.
If I'm to get things done, if I'm going to get support, I need to have a relationship with these people, and these people have to have relationships with me,
Right.
and that's very important to me. Believe it or not, uh, Dave Weldon, who's running for a legislative seat, he and I have been friends for probably 25 years. He endorsed me. We just got the Home Builders and Contractors Association endorsement, and the host of the business community endorsed me. I've been endorsed by my heart. I've been endorsed by so many people, but the bottom line is I need the constituents to endorse me
Josh, you.
by
Yeah.
voting on August 20th. And I promise you, I will not let you down because it's in my heart to do the right thing by the people. And by the way, those who say, no, no, we don't like you and all that good stuff, the only reason why you don't like me is because you don't know me.
Right.
Because if you knew me, I promise you, you will love me. Because I honestly operate on the focus of love. I love everybody. I have to love people because my God said I need to. Sometimes I don't like what people say to me, but that's just the way it is. But I do love
That's
everybody.
life. We have to get through life,
We
you
need
know,
to get along and
and we have to all get along somehow.
somehow, right.
Somehow.
We have to, you know,
Yeah.
and all this stuff that's out there where people are angry with each other and all this good stuff. Honestly, anybody who disagrees with me, I don't mind talking to you. I don't mind having a conversation. That's simple to me.
There might
What
be a simple solution between the
correct.
two.
When
Yeah.
when I was on the school board, it's kind of interesting. I would have parents, and this is the reason why I could tell you one of the reasons why I'm definitely qualified for this. There is nothing harder than being a representative for parents.
that are
Parents,
upset.
oh, because I've had calls from people to tell me I wasn't a man, that
Uh,
I wasn't a good dad, and all this good
it's-
stuff. And I would call them back. And they're shocked that I'm calling them back. And they said, "Why are you calling me back?" I said, "Well, you have a perspective of why I voted a certain way.
Mhm.
I need to understand what you're focused on, and I need you to understand what I'm focused on." Most of the time, they respect that, "Oh, I didn't know this, and
I didn't
I
realize
didn't
that.
realize."
Yeah,
But I also tell them that I know your focus is your child or your children.
right.
My focus was 74,000 kids,
Kids,
right? So I have to
right.
be consistent with what I do. But the bottom line to me is every constituent is important. What they think is important to me, and all I want to do is serve them in spirit and in truth. More questions?
Yeah, I think we did. We need more of our young people.
Ooh,
I think trade schools,
yes,
entertainment, local scholarship programs would be great.
yes.
And what about bringing back teaching our kids
Big,
basic life
yeah,
lessons like how to save
big
money,
thing, yeah.
keep a checkbook, cooking, so forth. And that,
That's what we talked about
yeah,
because we had home ec and all that good stuff,
right.
and we've gotten away with that.
And cursive.
And cursive writing, yeah, even
Can a
though
kid write a check? I know
I
my
don't
son
think so.
couldn't write a check
Yeah,
because he
that's
can't write cursive.
right. The challenge
I,
we do have is those simple things that we learned growing up. They're
right.
not learning those things, and we need to get back to it. And the only way to do
Why
that,
did they remove those things? Was it
they found that it wasn't as important for some reason. But to me, it's very important, and it takes time to learn how to cursive write. It
yeah.
takes time to learn how to type with all your fingers. Because to me, it was so magical once I learned that my fingers had eyes and knew where the keys were,
Yeah,
right? It was
like
just,
yeah.
it was just amazing.
Hey, and
So
it was a thing we had. We all used to have our names with how our speed on
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 yeah,
the board, and it
exactly.
was
And you want to
tracking,
beat
and
them,
you
yeah,
watched your number go up higher
right,
and higher.
exactly.
And it was competition.
Yeah,
No one was downgraded for it, but it was more
right.
of a
It was a
competition, and you
competition,
wanted to
yeah.
type faster than I was at 82 words a minute at one time.
Wow,
Yeah,
yeah, I
I was
wasn't
an
that fast.
administrative assistant. I
Oh,
ended
okay.
up that was my
That wasn't
my
me. I
calling.
wasn't that fast, that's for sure. But I did okay for sure. It's helping me in my business right now. So
And then, okay, here's one, and I don't know if this comes from state level or it says, why are there no cut caps on how much landlords can charge on getting into a place? All the places we could afford ask 3 times the rent,
yeah,
put
yeah,
extra charges that need to make 3 times the rent. Most people cannot afford what
right.
the landlords are
And
asking for.
unfortunately, that's a private business,
Yes,
right? And
yes.
the government really can't do that. Try to regulate. Now, I know Orlando tried to do that, and they got a lawsuit trying to prevent them from going up a certain amount a
Rent
year.
control.
Yeah, rent control.
Yeah.
And that's that could be a negative. As a business person, I understand. I don't want the government telling me what
But
to
there
do,
are
but you need to
I
you need to
don't
be reasonable.
I don't know how it was implemented. But like where I grew up in New Jersey, they did have a rent control. New
Hmm.
York has rent control,
Yeah, 'cause New
yeah,
York.
still to this day,
Yeah, yeah,
and stuff like that. But do you want to live in that type of economy? Because
right.
the rents, when you get out of a place that's rent control, you pass it on to
Pass it on.
family,
Yeah,
to family member, and then there's no more family member. That's when that rent
it goes up.
it goes up to three thousand
Yeah,
dollars a
yeah.
month.
I don't get it
It,
how people, can afford it, and she is right,
yeah,
but it is a business, and of course, the purpose of business is to make money, but we've got to do something. And in actuality, that's a good idea of trying to bring some of these landlords to sit at a table and try to brainstorm how we can make things more affordable. Yes, they need to make money, but they don't need to go as high as they do. Sometimes people are trying to get as much money as they possibly can, but it's hurting your neighbor. They're hurting the people.
did you? And I don't know if you've seen this, but there was an article out there that I read about. There was a company that was actually setting these places rents. Did you see
I didn't
that?
see that. No.
Um, so it's a company that everyone uses, a managing website for their apartment complexes. And this managing website is the one that was actually setting the rents and they like say the rent needed to be 1,300. They
Mhm.
were still making it 1,700. And that's why there
Really?
was a really high
Mm.
influx in rent. You may look into
Yeah, I gotta
that.
look into that for
Look
sure. So
into that.
yeah, yeah.
And maybe it's that managing company that they're using that
Right,
maybe
because they have to get a percentage of the rent that they're getting, and that's what they
correct.
do. Yeah,
Yeah,
because the owner may say, I only need $1,300, and he say, well, okay, we're gonna charge $1,700, so we'll get out.
right.
The landlord doesn't care because he's getting his
He's
number, right?
yes,
Right.
yeah.
So yeah,
It's these apartment complexes that
yeah,
use that management company
yeah.
system, and one of the management companies are being hit, I think, like with a civil lawsuit or something.
Yeah.
So
We really, the bottom line to me is we can't continue to do what we're doing, especially those who can't afford a house. They're living in rental property and they don't know from one year to the next what the rent's going to be. What they do know
right,
is probably going to go up, which is unfortunate. So
right.
we have to come up with a way, sit down with the landlord, the management company, and finding how we can reduce the amount of money that they're raising every year.
Well, yeah, and they want first, last,
Yeah,
and
and
then
most people can't even afford that.
security.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
it's
lot of
three
money.
times the amount of
Yeah,
their rent that they want to make sure that you can pay your bills. But again,
right.
can you guys do anything except, can you do anything at that level? Like,
Well, as I said,
yeah,
sometimes if to me it's all about relationship. Sometimes if you just sit down with these businesses, and especially if you understand business like I
yeah,
do, you can come up with a way that is a win-win for both sides.
right,
My job, when you have, especially a lot of constituents who have the same problem, which housing is a big problem, that to me should be one of the first jobs that I do is see how I can help these people who are in these apartments, how probably won't be able to lower it, but keep it where it is today
right.
for 2 years instead of 1 year or 3 years. But I think there's ways to do it because I honestly I think business people can't make money unless they have people who want to rent their things, right? And if
Right.
you price them out of their capacity, then you're not going to make any money yourself. And that's what business
That's
people
what's
understand.
happening now,
Yeah.
that people are getting priced out of
And,
everything.
and we
And
can't have that.
yeah,
We just can't. Because it end up costing the county and the city more money when you have to help those people who are out there who can't afford to do it.
and we're not Orlando.
We are
We're
not a,
Titusville,
yeah.
and our the rents are comparable. So a lot of the rents are
They're,
comparable,
they're
and the
going up. Yeah.
rules are comparing to Orlando's
Yeah,
rules.
yeah. Well, sometimes the developers are coming from these big things and they think they can bring that over there, but it's amazing how you can change things. I don't know if you've seen how much time do we have?
Well, we got like 4 minutes
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. I mean,
Okay.
we can go
Oh,
over.
you're
It's
over.
not.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't want to.
Trying to keep it to an hour, but if it
Okay,
goes
I,
over a
I got a
little,
lot
I'm
to say for
okay.
sure. So
We
I was
got.
looking at Mike. I didn't know what he was thinking there. So
No, don't look at him.
don't
Don't
look at him.
no, no, no. He's
Okay.
the person behind the scene. I got it
Okay,
under
you're the
here.
one. Okay, you're the
I
one with
got it.
power for
Look,
sure.
he's smiling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. One of the things I don't know if you saw in the paper today, where it was in last week, but it's in Florida today,
Mhm.
where we finally was able to get rid of all the litigation between Health First and Parish Medical Center.
Oh, I did not know
You need
that.
to read that
Okay.
because it actually started 2 years ago when I went to a EDC meeting and Health First representative was there.
And
And
they were gonna pull out or something. I know Health First pulled out from under you, right? Like
Health
from
First never,
Parish?
and no, 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 no. What we did was there was a challenge about how much they were going to charge us and not pay us for reimbursement for people
Oh,
who were using their insurance.
okay.
And it just became untenable where we were actually ended up not getting much money at all for the services that we did. So we
Right.
we ended up having to do certain things, and it actually for the last 10 years we've been in litigation, which costs a lot of money
Money.
on
Yeah.
both ends. And so when I was at the EDC meeting, it was one of their yearly meetings where corporate meetings where we talked about all the things that has occurred with the EDC for the year. And I just approached one of their presidents and said, it is time for us to sit down and talk.
Right.
We cannot continue this because neither one of us are winning. The blessing was that he was amenable to that. Now, it took 2 years, but we just announced that no more litigation with either party, and we're negotiating to bring back the insurance from Health First to the
Okay.
hospital. So anyone who has Health First insurance can now utilize our hospital for their needs.
Oh,
And we're going to be doing, and then we're going to be doing some other things with them. So we're going to be more collaborative
right.
than we did before. And we understand that we may be competing against each other, but we're not adversaries anymore. And
That,
that's what's going to make
yeah,
the difference
that's
for
good.
sure. But that takes someone with a business mind who understand and who can talk to these guys and they understand that we are here just to serve people as they are. I think Health First is a great organization and they have some great leadership. And I just think that this is a new day for not only North Brevard, but also all the clients that Health First serve.
I have a
Also,
question for you then.
oh, you have a question?
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
Being
we
a
have talked
North
too much.
Brevard, Titusville resident,
Yes,
coming from a small town, a growing community,
yes.
do you not think we need a level 1 trauma center here? So
It's extremely expensive. That's the problem.
I know that,
It's
but
extreme. I'll tell you,
I'm hitting all
I
of
know,
you
no, I
with this
appreciate
one
that because we
because
thought about that. And
we have to fly
like,
them,
yeah,
and then
yeah, I know.
the medical doesn't always pay for the flights, and it goes by every minute you're on them.
The challenge we have, it is a business as we did.
It's a business.
And you have to realize that we get no taxpayer dollar, even though we're a separate taxing district. Since I've been on the hospital board, which is 26 years, we have never leveled 1 cent, one tax, not even a cent
Right.
tax. So everything that we're getting is from the reimbursement that we get from the government or from some of the carriers. And they don't reimburse us dollar for dollar. It's more like maybe 40 cents on the dollar.
Right.
It's very difficult. So now you're talking about a trauma center that requires high end equipment, high end doctors, and we just can't afford it.
Okay.
That's the bottom line. We would love that. We don't like to see any patient leave our hospital and
They
go
don't
someplace
wanna
else.
leave.
I know, but
Yeah,
we just don't have it.
yeah,
We're not classified as that. We don't have any contract. We just cannot do it, unfortunately. Economically,
economically,
we
you can't
just
help.
cannot do it.
Okay.
We just cannot.
Well, that makes more sense to me.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, we want everything that you want, but we have to look at the bottom line,
Bottom
and we
line.
just can't do it. The worst thing we can do, and by the way, doing the whole COVID thing, there's been a lot of hospitals that just went under because they were single hospitals, just like us. We had to spend a great deal, millions of dollars, to protect the patients in the hospital. If you remember during COVID, a lot of people died. If they
Yeah.
came in and they were put on a respirator, they died.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen today, but we had to spend a lot of money, not only to protect those people who are coming in the door, but protect those workers,
Workers.
you know,
Yeah.
and hats off to every last one of them who worked doing this thing, because it was scary. It was
Yes, it
definitely
was.
scary for sure.
It was. One
Yeah,
of my friends got put on a heart machine,
really.
and she was almost terminal, and she actually,
She survived?
yeah, she
Oh, okay,
survived.
good. I
Yeah,
want you
my
to
son's age. Yeah, no, she
really?
survived. Yeah.
Oh, that's good for sure.
So,
We want everybody to survive.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
do we have anything? Look one more time.
Oh, it's a lot of stuff in there.
Oh, wait.
Man.
I know I can't all right, that's security. No homestead, none homesteaded homes. The property appraisers can raise their home value by 10% a year plus the tax increase
I don't know that.
raise cost. Um,
I mean, we have a limit on how much your property taxes can be increased.
increased,
Yeah.
right?
And we have homestead exemption too, so I'm not
Right.
sure what.
And then someone's mentioning that when you're on the city council, you raise taxes 3 out of the 4 years.
No,
I can't answer any
I
of
know
that,
what
so.
he's talking about. It was really more of the water and sewer was extremely expensive for sure. We didn't have a choice. And if she remembers, we had a little problem where there was a leak
Yeah.
and we were the EPA kind of came down hard on us and it was like $2 or $3 million, which we had to pay for. The last thing I want to do is, you know, people talk about raising taxes. I don't want to raise taxes. I honestly don't want to do it. But if we don't have
And
strong,
you're at a county level, so
yeah,
it's much different now than
it is different,
city
but the
level.
city, you know, as I said, 39,000 to 49,000, there wasn't a great increase, but
Right.
everything is still going up. And if we don't get smart development here where we can get more people who are actually paying taxes, especially with property taxes, we could see without the city council having any recourse, they would have to increase taxes on people, and we don't want that.
Right.
I don't want it at the county level. I don't want it at the city level. we have to find a way to increase the revenue by property taxes is the most important thing. When people start saying, well, just let them pay by use tax, we don't get any gas tax in
Right.
Titusville and all that good stuff. The only major way for us to have revenue to pay for all these things is property tax. So you got to have people who own the property so they can pay those taxes. So we'll have the revenue to pay for all the infrastructure and the resources. We talked about the fire. We talked about the police department, the
Yeah.
sheriff department. They all are asking for more money because they're losing all these people they're educating and they're going to other places.
Right.
So the only way to combat that is to try to get our people to the level that all these other people have. And then, of course, you know what happens? They raise theirs to try to get these people. And then it's almost like a self-eating watermelon, you know. Not sure where that's going to end, but we really have to maintain our capability and our competitiveness. Nobody wants to be able to call or want to have to call the city or the fire and they don't answer just
Right.
because we can
Or there's
afford to
not
have.
enough to come.
Right,
Right.
right,
Yeah.
sure. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, but I think that's about it. That last one I can't comment to right now. I, I can't. So, but I would like to say thank you for joining us and thank you for being with us. Your website is
VoteRobertJordan.com.
voterobertjordan.com. They can reach out to you. They can get in contact with you. Any
Absolutely.
questions, any signage, they
Absolutely.
can reach out to you, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And just reach out to them, speak to them,
Please
please.
talk to
Anything,
me.
yeah, talk to 'em. Explain things better.
And I want to, for sure.
Yeah, give them a chance, everyone.
Yeah.
So,
I want to be your next county commissioner.
right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.